Hey friends, Kevin here, and today we're going to talk about why I push so hard for a basic, simple, easy van build if you're in the middle of doing your first van build out, or if you're thinking about doing a van build of some type, whether it's a minivan or a cargo van, whatever you are going to use for a camper van. Because you can get really overcomplicated really quickly and cause yourself a bunch of problems. So I'm going to tell you why I do what I do, why I push you guys and gals to keep it simple in the beginning so you can get out and actually begin to enjoy yourself without having a lot of problems, and some stories on people that overcomplicated things a bit more maybe than they should. So let's get to it. Basic, simple, easy. The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Whatever you want to call it. There's reasons for this, and mine was very simple. I didn't know what I was doing when I was started out, and I really didn't have any help. And believe it or not, before 4 years ago, I hadn't done a lot of this. A lot of people come from backgrounds where they spend a lot of time camping in different ways over the years. That wasn't my background. You were way more likely to find me in a nice hotel than 10 years ago than you were going to find me camping out in a tent somewhere. But my priorities and the way I wanted to do things and what I found I enjoyed changed over the years. So I had to learn all of these things. But what I know from other things in life that transfers very well into any form of van life is this. The more complicated you make things, the more things there are to break, malfunction, and go wrong. Now, I have people who watch this channel who are very experienced, maybe even more experienced than I am. I have those that are experienced that are on the road right now, some full-time, some like I do, taking really long trips. I have people who have never done this at all. They're just here to kind of check it out and get some ideas and see if they can do this. So we have this mixture of people that are just starting out and have, maybe done a weekend or two. They're working on their first van. They're trying to get it together. But I'm going to give you an example of this. For one, I did the video on different heat sources, and I recommend that you have two. You have, the basic propane heater that I showed in that video for when you don't have any place to plug in, and also that you have a little cheap electric heater with you for when you do have the ability to plug in, even with an extension cord. You've hit bad weather, you end up in a campground that has electricity, maybe you end up in a friend's house in their driveway that you can just run a cord out, and you're covered with electricity for that way. But back to the propane part of it. What I recommend with those Mr. Buddy, Little Buddy heater, with the green propane tank that you can pick up at any Walmart, almost anywhere else. They're just about $3 or $4 a piece. It's simple. It's not the most cost efficient. But remember, most people aren't going to be on the road all the time starting out. And even if they are, or they're taking these longer trips, at this time of year, they're generally trying to get somewhere a little bit warmer. So they're not having to fight these sub-zero temperatures every night. Now, if you're in the north and you plan on staying in the north where it's colder, then you have a little bit different situation, where you would possibly be burning through one of these propane tanks every night or two on a 10-degree or less night. But for most people, it's not going to work that way. Now, when you have these heaters, there's other systems you can use. They make adapters and hoses so you can pull this thing over and you can use like a 20-pound propane tank that you would rent from a store somewhere. Well, it makes a lot more sense. It's going to be a lot more money saving compared to buying that $3 or $4 1-pound tank to have a $20 refillable 20-gallon tank. The thing is, you're introducing problems into what you're trying to do. especially if you don't have a lot of experience. One, that big tank is going to take up a lot of space. Space that you already don't have very much of, especially if you're starting out like everybody does, carrying too much stuff. So the space thing becomes an issue. The second thing that becomes an issue is you've now introduced between the hose that connects and the regulator and the rental tank itself, you've introduced 3 other pieces into that system that can potentially malfunction or break, cause you problems by not working right. And if you don't have experience with this, and you're out on the road and you need this and it doesn't work, it doesn't do you any good to have it. Now again, this doesn't apply to everyone. If you have experience with that stuff and you have a little more mechanical knowledge, you're going to be different maybe to do that than someone that doesn't come from any type of background messing with this stuff at all. This is why everything almost that I push towards on this channel, dealing with my minivan conversion, the same thing for a cargo camper van conversion, is to keep these systems as simple as you possibly can. The same thing goes with your toilet. The same thing goes with your water system. You can have little things and electric water pumps, 12-volt water pumps to pump you a little bit of water out into a sink and all that. But if this is your first time doing this, and if this is your first van build, maybe that's really not the system you need to go with right off the bat. And if you're working on your first van build and you're trying to get everything absolutely perfect and do all of this stuff, especially if you're on a limited budget, you may never get out of your driveway because you're going to be doing nothing but pumping money into your van build. We want you, when you get started, even if it's day long, overnight, weekend trips, we want you out starting to get out in nature, go explore, do what makes you happy and enjoy yourself. So while it's great to have all of those more complicated systems, it's great to have solar stuck on the minivan instead of the portable little battery pack that I have that can power a fan all night in the summer. There's nothing wrong with upgrading to any of those more complicated things. Again, as long as you realize you're introducing much more potential for problems into what you're doing. Now, I realize some people are going to agree with me. Some people aren't going to agree with me, and that's fine. But what I see in forums a lot of times when people are talking about this stuff, people have this is the way I did it, my way is right, and everybody else isn't. I don't believe in that because, again, we all came from different backgrounds where we all know about different things. We all have different levels of maybe mechanical knowledge. We all have, as we get older or people have disabilities or illnesses, we all have different things that we may not be able to do at the age we are now like we could do back when we were 25. So those types of things have to be factored into the decision of how you're going to do your van build. But I'd love to hear your comments down below, your views on my opinion. If you think I'm right, you think I'm wrong. If you're wondering what to watch next, click on my name under this video, Budget Travel Guy. It will take you over to this page on YouTube. I have things broken into categories, so you can see what is important to what you're trying to do right now, whether it's places to travel, whether it's buying your first van. Hopefully get some tips that will help you out, and we'll talk soon.